Wow. Both the Nuggets and the Miami Heat are on the verge of sweeping their opponents in the Western Conference Finals. This is honestly crazy, and before I start, I just want to apologize to all the Nuggets fans and the Nuggets in general because I've doubted them their entire playoff run and towards the end of the season. I knew they were good, but I didn't know they were this good. But for now, I'm going to talk about them later. I'm going to start with the Celtics versus the Heat. And I was right about the prediction. Not them going 3-0 to start off, but I was right picking the Heat. And again, the series isn't over, but with Boston's inconsistency, I just don't genuinely see them coming back in 4 games. I just don't see it happening. So as for the Celtics versus the Heat, I would say I've watched probably like 1 game out of the series because I really wanted to focus on the Lakers versus Nuggets. I've watched a good amount of Lakers games, but I barely watched the Nuggets, and I've watched the Celtics and the Heat throughout the playoffs here and there. So I really wanted to focus on the Nuggets and the Lakers. I tried to do both. It was difficult, but for the for the Celtics versus the Heat, I would say I did not predict them going 3-0. In my previous video, I mentioned that I had the prediction of the Heat going 4-2, winning in 6. The reason I had this is because I did not think that the Celtics should have struggled as much as they did in the playoffs. I think they should have swept Atlanta, and I think they should have won 4-1 against the Sixers. I felt like Atlanta, even though they beat the Heat in the playoffs, well, in the play-in, they should not have lost 2 games against them. Their defensive inconsistencies with Atlanta, they should have easily swept them. And that's not to disrespect Atlanta, but the Celtics are championship contenders for a reason. And as for the Sixers, I felt like the Sixers didn't really have any depth. And they kept, in games against the Sixers, they kept playing drop coverage, and it was just so easy. And the games they won, they didn't play any drop coverage. So, they shouldn't have really went to 7 games with the 76ers. And as for the Miami Heat, I feel like a lot of people have been doubting them, including myself. And a big part of that is that we've never seen really an 8th seed do this consistently. We always think their championship run is going to end soon, but it looks like it's not. The Heat are one of the most well-coached teams overall. Jimmy is a really good leader, and he's motivated everybody to play better. His presence alone makes everybody play better. And he just doesn't really do anything out of the ordinary, obviously besides score and play defense. But he's just really getting his team involved, and you just love to see what he's doing. I think Kevin Love also is a great addition. When they first got him, he was coming off the bench, and he was just horrible. But Spo made this amazing call to start him to see what it's like with that veteran experience, and it's helped them so much. Even Cody Zeller has been playing well. So I don't really have much to say about the Heat. It's just we all really didn't expect this. We didn't expect playoff Jimmy to actually do this because, at some point it has to come down to earth, but it looks like it's not. So congratulations to the Heat. Again, I know the series isn't over, but Boston, they're way too inconsistent. They have a lot of issues going on. Joe Mazzulla is probably going to get let go. He doesn't really make adjustments that well, and he leaves his timeouts till last minute. Al Horford, if he's not making shots, he's not really reliable out there. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, their games are just so inconsistent. It's very rare to have them both have, good games. And even when the box scores show that they have good games, it's when you watch it, it's not really a good game. So, yeah. Jaylen Brown might leave in the offseason because of the management and the fans, how they've treated him. But, yeah, Boston has a lot of things to work on. I thought they had great depth, but their depth is not playing that well. And it's kind of weird because it's very hard to tell why Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are playing so bad. You could say Miami's defense, but it usually happens in, the other playoff series where Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are inconsistent. When you watch it, it's like they don't really do anything different. When they play good, they play the same way as when they're playing bad. It's just the shots are falling in. So there's not really something big. I would say things they definitely need to work on is, driving in the paint more. They also need to fix their body language. But yeah, I feel like a lot of superstar players mentioned it already. A lot of players love to shoot threes, and I get it. Your legs are fried. It's hard to go to the rim. But, when you're an all-star superstar, when you're on that level, the refs tend to give you the calls. So if I were them, I would stop shooting less, get to the paint, and it usually works out for them. So yeah, Boston has a lot of things to work on, but congratulations to the Miami Heat. Now, when it comes to the Nuggets, I really wanted to focus on this series versus the Lakers because you have a lot of things riding on this series. You have LeBron's legacy, the Lakers having barely any chance to make the playoffs, as well as the Nuggets potentially finally being able to make their first finals. And if, this is really it, will this solidify Jokic's career as one of the best centers, or the best center, or potentially the best player in the league as of right now? So I was really focusing on this series, and another reason why I was focusing on this series is because I've doubted the Nuggets the entire series. And maybe it's because that's my Sixer bias, but I have to give credit to the Nuggets. Jokic is playing like the best player in the league as of right now, and I didn't expect this. I actually had the Timberwolves winning, I think, in 7 against the Nuggets. And, to be fair, I didn't watch that many Nuggets games. I watched a few, but I thought, earlier on their defense was too inconsistent, which is why I picked the Timberwolves to win. But then after I realized how well they played, I picked them to win 4-1 against the Suns, and it was relatively close, but I was right in that prediction. So, yeah. The Nuggets are a super well coached team, and I love what Mike Malone's doing out there. He's really defending his guys. As much as, it kind of gets annoying when a coach, constantly talks about everything else. He's right. I mean, the Lakers and the Celtics have gotten all the coverage, and the Heat and Nuggets have barely gotten any coverage. So it can get annoying. And, you just love to see the support he's giving to his players, especially when Jamal Murray was hurt. Now, I've underrated them like crazy. I didn't expect Jamal Murray to play this well. I thought Michael Porter Jr. was just going to chuck up shots and, it's not going to go in the playoffs. But, they've changed everything. And a big part of that is Mike Malone in my eyes. I know we can say Jokic and those guys on the floor, but I thought they weren't going to go this far because I thought his defensive rotations were really bad at the beginning of the season. Not the beginning of the season, but in the season I thought they were bad, and that's why the Nuggets went on a small losing streak in the middle of the season. So, when I see that, I see a coach, who doesn't like adjustments. So when I see a coach who doesn't like adjustments, I feel like that would be the downfall of them. But Mike Malone has made the right adjustments. He's put the best defender on the floor. As much as someone like Aaron Gordon isn't the best shooter, him at center has helped them so much. And, putting the guys out there who deserve to play. He's played Christian Braun, he's played Bruce Brown, and they're giving the Nuggets quality minutes. So shout out to the Nuggets. They deserve to be here. They've basically won the series. I do think the Lakers might win today's game, but then the Nuggets will finish it out. When it comes to the Lakers, my prediction was I had the Lakers in 6. And the reason I had that was because when we look at the head-to-head matchup, I knew Anthony Davis and Jokic would cancel each other out. If we look at the season, and I know it's the regular season, but if we look at the season and the careers they had, usually they've played really good against each other, but they can't stop one another. So I thought they would cancel them out. And I thought the Lakers had more experience, and I thought they had more depth, and they had everything riding them. Everything with them, being the 7th seed and coming back from 210 and being all that, they had everything. They had all the momentum. But like I said before, everything will come down to reality. And I was wrong about them. It's actually kind of funny because before the season even started, I remember listening to this podcast about the Nuggets versus Lakers series. And this guy, he made really valid points to why the Nuggets might win. And it almost convinced me. But then I was too lazy to change it. So I was like, you know what? The reason why I had the Lakers winning is not only because of my momentum, is because I thought LeBron wouldn't shoot as many threes. I thought he would drive to the rim. I thought this would be a Rui Hachimura and Vanderbilt game, or the series, because they're bigger and they get after it. They can rebound. They can play inside. I thought it would be their type of series. I knew Austin Reeves, what he would do. I knew D'Angelo Russell would be a liability because in the playoffs he's just so inconsistent, and defensively he's one of the worst defensive guards in the league. But yeah, I did mention way back when the Lakers were playing their first ever playoff game this season, I said that if the Lakers were to lose against the Memphis Grizzlies, I don't think it would be on the players. I think it would be on the coach. And even though the players are playing bad against the Nuggets in the Lakers series, I would say a part of this is Darvin Ham being an idiot. In my eyes, I do think the series should be at least 2-1 right now with the Lakers winning Game 2 or even Game 3. But it seems like both the Lakers and the Celtics can't close out. They'll have good games for 3 quarters, and the fourth quarter they just fold. And I just genuinely think Darvin Ham he doesn't know what he's doing. I'll give him credit. There are some moments where he makes good adjustments, but like it's way too late. Jared Vanderbilt, as much as his offense might be there, he's the reason you got to where you got in the first place. When you look at Anthony Davis and LeBron, Rui, Reeves, they've all played really well, but Vanderbilt had to deal with Ja Morant. Vanderbilt had to deal with Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. In this series, you've played him barely any minutes, and when he's on Jamal Murray, he's played pretty well. And as much as Dennis, I think, has played well, offensively, he's not there. And in the fourth quarter of these games against Jamal Murray, what I've noticed is that Dennis Schroeder tends to do good on Jamal Murray and on players when he goes over the screen, but then in the fourth quarter he goes under the screen and it doesn't work out. So I don't know how he switched that, but that's what happened. And I felt like Darvin Ham kept playing small lineups out there, and they got out rebounded, and it led to transition buckets, and it led to offensive rebounds. And the Lakers are one of the worst transition defensive teams in the league because they don't get after it, and they're great in the half court. But yeah, the Nuggets are a really fast team. Another thing that I noted with the Lakers is that if LeBron or Reeves are not pushing up the court, no one else is. Like, there's really no transition offense if it's not LeBron or Reeves, which is an issue. When you have an open lane, just drive, get there, get to the free throw line. But they don't do that. But yeah, I do think the Lakers will probably lose this series. I do think Lakers and Celtics will lose this series. No team has ever come back down 3-0. But I might make another video on what the Celtics and what the Lakers should do in the offseason, because they have lots of things to work on. The Lakers have been linked to ties like Kyrie, but, Mark Cuban's not an idiot. If you want Kyrie, you're going to have to give up all your defensive players because the Mavericks are one of the worst defensive teams in the league. They're going to want Rui, Vanderbilt, Reeves, all those guys. So, yeah. Congratulations to the Nuggets and Heat. I will definitely be watching this series. And, if I get proven wrong and some team comes back down 3-0, I'll be glad to own up to it. But I just don't see it happening.